I think that's where the word media comes from. The medium is the message.
Right.
The medium in those days was TV and radio.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Chumash, Tuesday.
So now we talk about the media. That's what it is.
Chumash.
Chumash, page 24, verse 29. If a man sells a residential house in a walled city, its redemption will be possible until the end of the first year. Yom Tigulasai, for a full year, will its redemption be possible?
Double pressure. Right?
Yeah. Chavtes, Beis Moshe Ir Chema. A house that is within a city walled by a wall. A wall from the ancient times, the time of Yeshua. Its redemption will be possible since it says regarding an inherited field, so that you can redeem it every from 2 years and on. So basically, when you sell it to some of your field, you can't redeem it back right away unless you win the lottery. You got to wait 2 years so you can redeem it back. Therefore, it has to specify that with a house, if you sell a house in a walled city, it's the exact opposite set of laws. That if you want to redeem it, you have 1 year to redeem it. After 1 year, you no longer can redeem it. Its redemption will be possible, that of the house. Yomim, days. The days of an entire year are called days. Similarly, we find that by let the girl stare for days meant a year. Lamed, if, however, it's not redeemed until its first year is completed. Then the house will be transferred. The house in the city that has a wall will be transferred completely, to totally cut it off from the original owner. Lakoine say to the buyer, for all his generations.
I don't understand that.
Lo Yetzi Bayevel will knock over the Jubilee year.
Can you
What do
explain
you
that?
understand?
So you're saying
understand?
you can't. So someone can transfer.
Here, basic. If I have a house in the old city of Jerusalem and I sell it to you, I have
that stays with
the
my
right
forever.
I have the right to buy that house back for up to 12 months from you. I needed fast cash. I sold my house in the walled city. If I can get the money back, to gather the money, and you're forced to re-give it back to me.
First year.
You sell it back to me. You sell it back to me.
Oh, I see. You got a year to think about it.
After 12 months, I can no longer force you to sell it back to me. That's it. Come by us again, let's so then the house we transfer absolutely. The house will leave the control of the seller and come under the control of the buyer. It'll leave the control of the seller and come under the control of the buyer. Okay. Let's go to 26. Asher lechaima. A wall that has a city that has no wall, literally, but it really means you actually read it with lo, with a lamed vav. read the exact opposite. A rabbi said, why does it do this confusing way? If it says, it really means a wall that has a loy and loy mean two opposite things. A city that has a wall to it, a city that doesn't have a wall to it. Which one is it?
Mhm.
Look at the Hebrew. Go
Yeah.
back. Asher ba'ir, asher loy chayma. What does loy chayma mean? What does lamed aleph mean? A city that has
No.
no wall.
Oh, I see. Could be
But we
a lot.
read it. There's no our pronunciation, no difference, but maybe Sephardic pronunciation. There's a difference of loy with a vav, a little bit of difference. I don't know
That's
how
a
what it is.
completely different word.
Exactly. It's the exact opposite word in a way.
Mhm.
It either has a wall or it doesn't have a wall. The words mean the exact opposite meaning. So this is one of the traditions we have, that even though it says it's written in a certain way, the reading and the intent is actually to read it slightly different, which in this case has the opposite meaning.
You're saying that's what Rashi's saying?
Rashi's quoting that from the Talmud, the Midrash.
What's the point of that?
Oh, glad you asked. He says that the reason the Gemara says is that even though now this city, let's say Yericho, Jericho, it has no walls now, right?
Cool.
Later on in history.
Mhm.
But since it had walls at the time of the conquest of Joshua, that's considered an ancient city. That's considered a city where this law of buying back for a year back applies. So it has a wall. It had a wall,
Right.
but now it doesn't have a wall.
Right.
Even such a wall, city, house in that type of city would count this law.
Go back to the original wall.
Yeah. The Ir Nekevahi, and a city which is feminine, and it's necessary to write la. A city that is, Nekevahi. It's written. The city's a feminine word apparently, and you have to write la. So really, this whole thing is the third monkey wrench here. It should have not. It's the wrong tense, gender tense. Here's a feminine word. It's a feminine. It should have been la. Ir asher la chayma.
Wow.
But because it had to teach this had a wall but doesn't have a wall still counts, it had to do it in the masculine tense. Very interesting about how Torah is so, we think you can't just read. You have to have the tradition about the words in many ways to understand the nuance. Lo yetze b'yevel, will not leave him in this jubilee year. Amar Rav Safra, in Paga b'yevel b'sech shnasei lo yetze, that if the jubilee year falls within the year of sale, the house does not leave him. If the jubilee year falls within the year of sale, the house does not leave him. Okay, Lamed Aleph. Houses in open cities that do not have a wall around them. Houses in open cities that do not have a wall around them are to be considered like the land's fields. So houses not in these ancient walled cities, regular houses and regular cities, suburban houses, let's say, they have the different set of laws. They are like fields that they can be redeemed. We'll see. It says immediately because they're adding Rashi earlier. And in Yovel they go out.
They go out to the buyer.
To the buyer. It goes back to the seller. It goes back. It reverts back to the seller.
50 years.
The seller of his ancestral,
Oh, right. But in the city, it doesn't.
In the old city, it's transferred completely after a year. No reverting back by Yov. Okay, let's see. Uvate Chatzedim, says Rashi. Uvate Chatzedim is houses of courtyards. The courtyards are Kitargumay Fatzchaya. Fatzchaya are open cities without walls. And there's many in the book of Yeshua, Ha'odim Achatzreim, the walled cities and their surrounding non-walled cities. Achatzreim V'tereisam, in their open cities and in their strongholds. Alste'eretz Yechashev are to be considered like the land's fields. They are like the fields that are redeemed until the Jubilee year and go out from the buyer in the Jubilee year to the original owner if they're not previously redeemed. So Rashi, next parashi, 27. Geula Tialoi. Miyad Yirtzav V'zeh Yafa Koichai Mikoich Tzadis. Basically, you can, like a field, remember? A field, here's the cool thing. A field, you have to wait actually 2 years till you can buy it back. But here, the city in the unwalled areas, you can buy it back next day if you have the money.
Unwalled.
Where do you see 2 years? You were promising me that yesterday.
Oh,
Where do you see the 2 years that I have to wait to have up to 2 years to buy it back?
Let's look at.
Give me a second. I don't know.
Chumash. This,
Let's see where it says that.
Rashi verse 15 is the footnote.
Rashi verse 15.
Doesn't really.
Verse 16. Above. So,
They
let me see verse 16. So that was the day, that was on Sunday's reading.
I think it is
I don't know.
something to do with like there's the current year and then there's 1 year crop. You got to give them at least one full year
Interesting.
what's the question?
of crop yield. Where did the 2 year come from? Where's the 2 year? But I can't point to it here, but I remember hearing that somewhere.
It says in the Chumash, it's verse 16, but I don't see that there.
It says 15, doesn't it? Footnote 80 points to Rashi, verse 15.
15, maybe it's mistaken.
But the explanation there doesn't explain it. So, it's-
It's learned in verse 15 Rashi. It's too long to go through now. You have to look up in verse 15 in Rashi. Okay?
Okay.
We didn't do that. That was Sunday's portion, so I did not get a chance to do that yet. So let's go on. Okay. Lamed Beis. Concerning the Levite cities, the houses and the cities of their possession, the Levium have a permanent right of redemption on them. Rashi, Lamed Beis. Concerning the Levite cities, the 48 cities that were given to them, they have a permanent right of redemption. They can both redeem it. If they sell their house, they can redeem it right away, even before 2 years, and they sell their field that's given them in the perimeter. If they or if they sell a house in the walled city, they can always go buy it back, and it's never transferred absolutely.
What, the 48 cities?
Well, how did they?
The 48 cities?
So yeah, the 46 basically they can always they get the best of all the worlds. They can buy back right away, and it always goes back to them, house or field at Yovel.
So, but they acquired it initially by buying it.
No,
No, Hashem gave it.
you gave it to them.
Levium, you're
I
Levium.
thought they don't.
They don't get
any land.
They don't get big farming areas. They get the cities to live. They get housing.
They live in the city.
And they got a little bit of
They got
gardens.
Particular parcels in the city they were given.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's 2,000 almost around.
They get a little bit of a garden patch, I guess, outside, but they don't get a proper farm.
Some things they can do.
Each
and
one
something-
gets his own particular.
I think so. Yeah, they get a house in
I
them,
guess just like the tribes. Okay. So
but a much lesser. It's just not farming.
Okay.
Lamed Gimel Vashigam and Olavim Yotza in Karbayis Yerachazase B'Yevel. Regarding that which is purchased from the Levites, regarding that which is purchased from the Levites, and the house or city of their possession that was sold will leave the buyer in the Jubilee year, because their houses are in place of ancestral fields. That's their ancestral property is a house. Regarding that which is purchased from Levium. So it says Rashi, if one buys a house or a city from them, it reverts back to Mayevel, that house or city, returns back to the Levite. But Lo Yia does not ever get fully transferred over like other houses that are in walled cities. Geula, it's interesting when Geula, it says here, Asher Yigal, you redeem from the Levites. Actually means you buy. If you actually choose the words, that which is redeemed, doesn't mean redeemed, it's confusing. It's that which you purchase from the Levite.
Where do they use the word geula? Where is it with first?
Lamed Gimel, the first for Lamed Gimel. Page 27. Asher Yigal min Alviyim, that you purchase from the Levium. Another explanation of the term, because it's unusual. It's not the typical way you say. So it's to tell you why is it doing selling.
That's what I was saying. He sells it. Where does he go?
So gula, it says that it could also mean purchasing. Doesn't only mean redemption. It could
So
also.
where does he go?
Or when he does, I don't know. Lives with the sister. I don't know. The sister-in-law. The sister has a house. Anyways,
Maybe it's just a lesson.
Rashi's not giving you a big. He's just telling you the term yigal could mean purchase. End of story. Next, another explanation of why they did the unusual verb for purchasing. Since the Levium will have a permanent right of redemption, I might think that the verse is only speaking about a Israelite buyer who bought a house in one of the Levite cities, but a Levi who bought a house from another Levi will be transferred, meaning Levi to Levi business, L to L business, Levi to Levi business. Maybe it does transfer over. The Torah thus teaches Vasher Yiglam and Alviyim. It's a double meaning that you're, if you're the Levi that sold it, you could redeem it back from the guy you sold, the Levite that you sold it to.
Sure.
So according to this, it's a continuation of the previous verse. The Levite cities are their hands, and therefore that which they even get from another Levi goes back to them. Yasim Karbayis, the house that was sold will leave. This is another mitzvah. Pimloi Ga'ala. This is another mitzvah. And if he does not redeem it, Yetze Bayevel, goes out by Yevel. The house of the Levite cities are their inherited possessions. They do not have property or fields or vineyards, but only cities to dwell in and their surrounding spaces. Therefore, we give them the same prerogative of redeeming them without ever being, fully sold forever. Lamed Daled, some of the fields of their surrounding areas, which are small, not too much area, but it's a little bit, is also the same law as it's their inherited possession. Rashi, so what's talking about here? A fully fledged sale of the sanctuary treasure. What happens? If, let's say, a Levite donates his field to the temple treasury and he doesn't redeem it, so the guy, the temple treasurer, then sells it, auctions it off, and gets money for the temple. That field goes back to the Levite. If an Israelite did that with a field, if he donated it to the temple and they auctioned it off, he can't get it back. It goes to the Kohanim after the Bayevo. But when it's a Levite field, since they have very little fields, they get to keep it. They get it back to them. So again, a regular person dedicates his field as a donation. It doesn't go back. But a Levite does. All right, Lamed if your brother becomes poor and is unable to support himself among you, you shall support him. A resident, a ger, convert, or a resident, you have to support as well. And he should be able to live among you. He should be able to survive with enough money.
You know what a gear is? We're a resident.
Let's see. I'm glad you asked. You shall support him. Do not let him decline and fall in such a way that it's difficult to raise him up. Rather, support him from the time he begins to falter. What's his example? A donkey that has a very heavy load. That while the donkey is still up, buckling its knees, you can hold it, you can help it without too much effort. One person just support the load, and the donkey won't fall down. But once the donkey knees buckle and goes to the ground, Even 5 people can't put it back because it's much harder. So
Okay.
the knees are weaker, and I don't know. Ger v'seishav, a proselyte or a resident. Avim hu ger seishav, even if he is a convert or a resident. What is a resident? Kol shekibel alav shelav v'zara. A resident is one who's not accepting on himself to serve idols, but still eats unslaughtered carcasses. So it's basically a ger toshav, is a non-Jewish monotheist who lives among you. You have to support him as well.
Mhm.
Do not take from interest of any kind, and you shall be afraid of your God. Instead, let your brother be able to subsist with you. Interest of any kind, although it is expressed as 2 terms, a rabbi is determined to be one thing. Interest. Neshach means interest, tavers in it. It makes you liable for 2 prohibitions, violations. Don't take interest and fear God. Since it's very attractive to take interest, it's very normal. The person wants to make a return on their money. And therefore, it's very hard to not. You'll find ways to think, oh, I can do it. How could I give money and not take 4% back? I'm losing the money myself. Therefore, it has to say, fear God.
Mhm.
Or it could be referring to somebody who tries to game the system. He basically gives his money to a non-Jew who then lends it on interest. Non-Jews lend their own money on interest to a Jew. But this Jew is not really giving the non-Jew the money. He's just saying, lend it in your name, but it's getting interest from me.
Boy.
So he says, God knows, fear God. God knows what you're doing.
Mhm.
You must not give him your money for no interest. Nor give him food to get gain for it. You can't lend grain to get more grain back. I am going to your God that I took you out of Egypt. It says Canaan, to give you the land of Canaan. So in order I can be your God. Rashi, I am Hashem who took you out. Why is God invoking that God took us out of Egypt for this sin of interest? It says God, since I took you out of Egypt and I determined who was a firstborn, who wasn't a firstborn, right, who was a non-Jew and the firstborn, so too I know who's really lending on interest through sneaky ways and who's not. So I know. Don't think you can get away with it. Another explanation is, I took you out of Egypt. I took you out of Egypt even for hard mitzvahs like this. The hard mitzvah of not lending interest, the loss, you gotta stomach it. When you lend to a fellow Jew, it's part of your family. Says Canaan, to give you the land of Canaan as a reward for accepting my commandments, in order that I may be your God. Whoever lives in the land of Israel, I am his God. Whoever leaves the land is considered an idol worshiper. Because it means there's more divine providence in Israel than there is in the diaspora. So relative, it's like it's leaving the close supervision of God to the more indirect supervision, although it's, of course, God is everywhere. All right.